It's becoming increasingly clear that Donald wants a United States armed forces filled with leaders who are loyal to him first. I would say add to our Constitution second, but there's no such thing. You are pledged to protect and defend the Constitution. There is no loyalty to person under our system of governance, but Donald wants military leaders loyal to him first because that will make it easier for him to consolidate military power. It's terrifying because we've seen what he will do with that power, how he will abuse it. For example, deploying military troops to American cities, which is illegal and unconstitutional. So we need to keep calling this out. Luckily, Donald and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth are giving an assist here by publicly humiliating themselves and the country. This morning, Hegseth held a gathering of over 800 military leaders. These are professionals, career professionals, who were forced to fly in from all over the world, abandoning their posts in order to do so, all at the behest of the least qualified, least experienced Secretary of Defense in modern American history. The event was, of course, televised, and that was the point. This was a photo op for Donald, who was thirsty. The bizarre event took place in Quantico, Virginia, and Donald and Hegseth both sadly addressed the officers gathered. Both speeches were frightening, weird, and mind-numbing, each in their own different ways. So let's start with Hegseth's remarks. Hegseth took time to lecture the military elite, all of whom have much, much more experience than he does, and who are much smarter and actually understand their oath of office. And he lectured them on physical appearance. Take a look.
If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. This is on duty in the field and in the rear. If you want a beard, you can join Special Forces. If not, then shave. We don't have a military full of Nordic pagans. That's why today, at my direction, the era of unprofessional appearance is over. No more beardos. The era of rampant and ridiculous shaving profiles is done. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position or a new profession.
That guy is lecturing generals and admirals about their appearance and their physical fitness and how they handle their own troops. That guy. So what is a professional appearance according to Pete Hegseth? All right, clean shaven. Why that matters, I don't know. Does it make you feel safer? Oh yeah, I get it. Professional appearance in Pete Hegseth's military is Christian nationalist tattoos. Yep. That's what Pete Hegseth sports. Maybe Hegseth should worry less about facial hair and more about leaking classified information to reporters on text threads while drunk. But I guess that kind of behavior is perfectly okay in Pete Hegseth's Defense Department. The idea that those squared away soldiers had to listen to that fucking moron go on and on and on about things about which he knows nothing and about which nobody cares must have been awful for them. Hegseth also hit on one of the issues the Trump regime seems most worked up about. Something I am going to bet 90% of the men and women in that room could not care less about. The dangers of wokeness. Watch this.
No more frivolous complaints. No more anonymous complaints. No more repeat complainants. No more smearing reputations, no more endless waiting, no more legal limbo, no more sidetracking careers, no more walking on eggshells. For too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons, based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts. We've pretended that combat arms and non-combat arms are the same thing. We've weeded out so-called toxic leaders under the guise of double-blind psychology assessments, promoting risk-averse, go-along-to-get-along conformists instead. You name it, the department did it. Foolish and reckless political leaders set the wrong compass heading, and we lost our way. We became the woke department, but not anymore.
Oh, good. Can we go back to sleep now, please? Whoa. Okay. First of all, I actually agree with Pete Hegseth there. It is true that for far too long, for centuries, in fact, this country engaged in identity politics, promoting only mediocre white men. And it is time to put a stop to that. Oh, wait, we were trying to. But then guess what? I can't even say calling Pete Hegseth mediocre is an insult to mediocrity. And then we got this idiot into the Defense Department. And once again, he's going to lecture us on the kinds of people who deserve to be in uniform. It almost sounded like he was very eager to make it official policy to sweep sexual harassment complaints under the rug, to make sure that women were not allowed in the military. What I think it's important to point out, besides the fact that the Secretary of Defense should not be engaged in culture wars of any kind, clearly, though, he's more worried about them than he is about the war between Ukraine and Russia, hostilities potentially with China, and the Gaza war. For somebody who so enthusiastically embraces his new stupid title, the Secretary of War, he seems not at all to care about actual war. Before we go on, fighting authoritarianism is crucial in this moment. So please like and share this video. And if you believe in our mission, please subscribe to our channel. The former Fox contributor mansplained to his own officers about how tough their own military is, or how tough they are not. By the way, he was essentially insulting them about their appearance, about their lack of physical fitness. Has anybody ever seen Pete Hegseth do a pull-up?
And yes, thank you, President Trump, for setting the example.
Hegseth also hinted at abandoning the military's rules of engagement. The remark struck a balance between idiotic and, quite frankly, scary. Take a look.
We fight to win. We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country. No more politically correct and overbearing rules of engagement. Just common sense, maximum lethality, and authority for warfighters. And as history teaches us, the only people who actually deserve peace are those who are willing to wage war to defend it. That's why pacifism is so naive and dangerous. It ignores human nature and it ignores human history. To our enemies, F-A-F-O. If necessary, our troops can translate that for you.
So could I, but I'm not going to, because I am paralyzed with shame right now. Okay, that is his military strategy. Fuck around and find out. I kind of wish there were a camera on the faces of the military leaders in that crowd. I would love to see how this went down with them, because until today, I would have said that Donald's so-called speech, his rambling, incoherent, and delusional remarks at the UN was the worst speech I'd ever heard in my life. But Pete Hegseth just blew that out of the water. It was deeply humiliating, embarrassing. He is a stain on this country's military, But it was also dangerous because essentially what he's saying there is there should be no rules of engagement at all. We, the mightiest of the mighty, should be able to do whatever the fuck we want, wherever we want, whenever we want, no matter the consequences. Who needs to care at all about conduct or, I don't know, human lives and doing everything we can to protect them? He just needed to score points because, like Donald, Pete Hegseth is a tiny, tiny man with delusions of grandeur who must, on some deep level, know just what a pathetic loser he is. Donald, because he can't help himself, also addressed the assembled officers, and he started things off almost as if he were at an open mic night. So let's take a look at his big entrance.
I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Don't laugh. Don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future.
I'm not sure why they're laughing because he means it. Has nobody figured this out yet? He's not kidding. He's not kidding. Now, I'm not entirely sure why I expected like a standing ovation. You know, they're military officers. This is not WWE or MMA or whatever that other thing is. This was a gathering of military officials, and I'm pretty sure they probably assumed they were there for a reason. Although, of course, it turns out the reason was Donald needed to look like a tough guy. He did go on about domestic threats. I assumed that he was talking about himself. Oh, wait, no, sorry. That's just the reality of the situation. But when he says domestic threats, he means anybody who disagrees with him or opposes him in any way. Here's what he said.
Our history is filled with military heroes who took on all enemies, foreign and domestic. You know that phrase very well. That's what the oath says, foreign and domestic. Well, we also have domestic. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Grover Cleveland, George Bush, and others all used the armed forces to keep domestic order and peace. Many of our leaders used the military to keep peace. Now they like to say, oh, you're not allowed to use the military. America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms. But we are under invasion from within. We're stopping it very quickly. They've been after me for so many years now. Here we are. Here we are. Come to the White House anytime you'd like. No, they've given up. They're bad, a lot of bad people.
Yeah, there are a lot of bad people. And yes, there is an invasion from within, and it's being led by that person. And, you know, they do have their uniform, their ridiculous blue suit and very red tie and their red hats. We can spot them from a mile away. So, as often is the case, Donald is just projecting. Because the only enemy I see is the Trump regime. All of this rambling incoherence and not too subtle threats fits in with his recent actions of sending federal troops to U.S. cities, prosecuting his enemies, political retribution, and he is now claiming, engaging in a little bit of revisionist history, that his predecessors all did the same or worse in order to justify his unconstitutional, extra-legal behavior. Because he's him, Donald played his greatest hits and engaged in some of his own anti-wokeness talk. We need to stop calling it anti-wokeness, just anti-human, anti-empathetic, anti-tolerant bullshit. Here it goes.
I said, didn't it used to be called the Department of War? And he goes, yes, sir. They changed it like in the early 50s. So we won the First World War, We won the Second World War. We won everything in between and everything before that. We only won. And then we went, in a way, woke. That was probably the first sign of wokeness. We can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word. There are two N-words, and you can't use either of them. You can't use either of them.
Excuse me? I mean, I'm pretty sure the N-word he's referring to there, the other N-word we're not supposed to say is nuclear. But why would he be bringing that up in the context? Is it woke to want to avoid nuclear conflagration? Is that where this is all heading? So let's get to the cut to the chase, as it were. Donald is attempting to get rid of, to shove out military leaders who are not 100% loyal to him. Although after listening to that, how anybody could be loyal to that incoherent, uneducated, deeply disturbed individual, I don't know. But here's what he had to say to Fox before he arrived at this meeting today.
This time. So I'm going over, I'm going to be meeting with generals and with admirals and with leaders. And if I don't like somebody, I'm going to fire him right on the spot.
Huh. How would he know if he likes somebody or not? Does he have some kind of radar that detects difference and loyalty? Or is it somebody who is not adhering to Pete Hegseth's standards of masculine grooming? I don't know. But I'll be interested to find out if anybody did get fired today. Then here are Hegseth's comments urging any leaders who won't play ball with the Trump regime to resign.
But if the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign. We would thank you for your service.
I imagine what made the hearts of those in that audience sink during Hegseth's remarks was the fact that despicable, unqualified sycophant, that weak man who understands nothing about what it means to be a man or what it means to serve his country in a real way is their boss. Can you imagine? That would make me want to crawl into a very, very dark hole and die. Please take a second and like and share this video. It'd be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.